In this episode, Discord comes back because they want him to be good, so they have him live with Fluttershy, so she'll be his friend, and then we learn he turned back because he didn't have any friends, and now he has a friend, so he's good, and he says friendship is magic. The end. Where to even begin with this one? I gave The Return of Harmony a perfect 10 out of 10. To this day, it is still my favorite episode, largely because of Discord. As soon as the episode was over, I immediately wanted to see more of this character, but given how the show operates and how insanely powerful he was, I was concerned that the only way he'd be brought back is by making him a good guy. And what do you know, that's exactly what they did. And personally, I disagree that this was the right creative direction for the character. And given a choice, I'd rather he just make a one-shot appearance as the most amazing thing that ever happened to the show, rather than bringing him back just because he happened to be popular and risk messing up the thing that made him so great in the first place. It also negates my argument that the elements of Harmony affected Discord differently than Nightmare Moon because Discord simply is chaos incarnate and is therefore irredeemable, and instead it just raises even more questions about how these things actually work. Having said all that, I am not going to automatically dismiss this episode just because it isn't how I wanted the story to go in my head. That would just be childish and petty, and I like to give every episode the opportunity to surprise me. But those are my personal feelings on the matter, and I just feel like sharing that and getting it out of my system before moving on. However, taking the episode on its own terms, I'm afraid it still isn't very good. Oh, there are good things in it. The characters do act intelligently for the most part. We get a Wilhelm scream from Angel Bunny. Discord bringing the dishes to life during a dinner party was really clever. Turning the gravy boat into a dog was cute, and I especially like how the soup server that looks like a fish starts spitting soup at everyone when Twilight says something seems fishy, and Discord just says, "Hey, it's not my fault, you offended the soup." And of course, there's a scene early in the episode where Discord takes all the pages out of Twilight's books that have potentially threatening spells and eats them. That was absolutely brilliant. One of the main problems, though, oddly enough, is that the characters are given too much information. I can't believe I'm about to do this, but Hearts and Hooves Day actually shows a good example of how to do this right where this episode failed. In Hearts and Hooves Day, I genuinely appreciate how Cheerilee is aware that the kids are trying to set her up with Big Macintosh, and she just kind of humors them by drinking the love potion. What makes this work is that she wasn't there when the potion was being made, and she has no reason to believe they'd be able to make something like that in the first place. In this episode, the main characters constantly have their guard up around Discord because they know he's going to try and manipulate them, but they also talk about all their plans directly in front of him, so he knows they're trying to manipulate him too. This results in everyone just going around in circles most of the time, and the episode ends up writing itself into a corner where the only way to resolve anything is to have one side do something profoundly stupid. And guess what? They both do. First, Fluttershy promises not to use her element against Discord, and she takes her necklace off. Look, I don't care how nice he is, I don't care if you never even use the thing, but if a magical necklace is the only thing standing between you and the end of the world, you do not take it off. And with how the elements of Harmony work, that's all Discord needed to do. Disarm one of them and the others are useless. This is what he was trying to do all along, so congratulations, Discord wins, right? Wrong, because that's when Discord becomes misty-eyed and says, "Gosh, you're really my friend? I've never had a friend before." And this is the other main problem with the episode. In what way are Discord and Fluttershy friends? The whole episode, Fluttershy is only ever sheepishly kind to him in the same way that she is to everyone. It only stands out because no one else is nice to him, but there's a big difference between being someone's friend and just being nice to them. Do they do anything together? Do they have any common interests? Everyone likes to compare this episode to Beauty and the Beast, but the Beast had a genuine motivation for wanting to change, and we see him really trying as he and Belle make gradual steps towards being more comfortable with each other. Discord is just using Fluttershy right up until the end of the episode, and he has every reason to believe that she's doing the same thing to him. The idea of someone never having friends and then learning why friendship is important was a great lesson when Twilight learned it in the season 1 premiere. She goes on an adventure with all the other characters. They spend time together and help each other out along the way. At the end, she gets separated from them and tries to fight Nightmare Moon on her own, and she loses. Then, at her lowest point, feeling completely alone and helpless, she hears the others approaching, and for the first time she is aware that simply having them around gives her hope. That even if they are defeated and all is lost, there is still some small comfort in hearing those familiar voices one last time. That is when she learns the true value of friendship. In this episode, Fluttershy and Discord are friends. Why? Because they say they are, and nothing more. I actually find it even funnier now that Return of Harmony ended with a Star Wars reference because this episode reminds me of the prequel trilogy. Of course, Obi-Wan and Anakin are good friends because they say they they are and not because of how they actually treat each other. And the same thing is true here. But beyond all of that, the idea of reforming Discord by forcing friendship on him contradicts the previous lessons that we've gotten. I've said this before, but the whole reason Celestia doesn't have deadlines for Twilight's friendship reports, the whole reason she didn't tell Twilight that friendship would stop Nightmare Moon, is because friendship isn't something you can plan. But you know what? Let's assume everything I just said was wrong. Again, I'm meeting the episode on its own terms. So, okay, Discord has a genuine change of heart. He made a new friend, he isn't going to be mean anymore, and Celestia gets to use them for whatever magical project she has planned. Everybody wins, everybody gets what they want, and this is the face that everyone makes at the end. Fuck you. As much as this episode tries to preach friendship at us, ultimately, if this is how someone thinks about you when you aren't looking, they aren't your friend. It's actually kind of disgusting, and it shows just how little confidence the episode has in its own message. And I could bring up other issues, like the fact that Pinky's favorite thing about Discord before is now the only thing she complains about, or the absolute hypocrisy of Rarity being the one to say that Discord made them behave as the opposite of their true selves when her true self is already greedy as fuck, or even the repeated false threat of having to justify to Celestia why they might need to imprison Discord again when Celestia was the one who left the elements of harmony with them in the first place for that exact reason. But honestly, that just seems nitpicky at this point. While there are some good scenes and it's always great to have John Delancey around, the real problems with this episode run to the very core of the show itself. Considering the subjects being tackled here, this episode could have been better. It arguably should have been better, because the show has done better. Keep Calm and Flutter On gets a 3 out of 10.